Hey everybody, I'm just gonna go through, kind of update you guys on what's gonna be happening over the next few days. This is gonna be short, and I'm not gonna be uploading much throughout the next few days because I am going to be out of town. Currently, we have an enhanced risk for severe weather. There's a 5% risk of tornadoes, a 15% risk of damaging, or 30% significant risk of damaging winds, and a 30% significant risk of very large hail, or large hail, excuse me. Um, Currently, we really don't have that much. Oh, we have a lot of radar on radar. Let me pull up. So here's the current radar view. Currently we have a tornado watch across Oklahoma. We have a severe thunderstorm watch across Texas and a severe thunderstorm watch across portions of Illinois and Missouri. Currently in Kansas, we have some sub-severe thunderstorms. Same in Arkansas as well. Maybe we'll get a severe watch in Arkansas sometime later today. We will see on that. Currently, there's a warm front placed across portions of Illinois, Iowa. This will enhance things some for some severe weather potentially. We'll have to monitor trends on that. Looking at the satellite right now, there is some mix in the clouds here across this area, and it looks like we do have a surface low kind of in portions of Iowa. Looks like some of those anvils from those thunderstorms ongoing have kind of breached out some of this, but we do have some clearing across Illinois and Iowa. We'll see if we get anything significant instability wise. But there is potential for maybe a couple severe storms with some brief tornadoes and damaging wind gusts and large hail today. Tomorrow, now I looked at the weather models on this. In my opinion, tomorrow we have a risk for a couple of tornadoes across both of these regions. We also have a risk of damaging wind gusts across kind of Texas and New Mexico, and then I think, and then in my opinion, we have a risk of significant large hail across the large area, and I do expect to see a slight risk, or I do expect to see us wake up with at least a significant chance of hail and potentially an enhanced. Day 3, I haven't really looked at this much at all, but from what I've looked at, it just looks like a day of large hail across the plains, and that's about it. Now, what happened over the last few days? And there you go. We're gonna need a new severe thunderstorm watch across portions of Arkansas due to a tornado or two, very large to potentially very large hail and damaging wind gusts. But back on to what we've been talking about here. Let me just go through what's happened the past couple of days because it's been a while. I think the last video we really had was May 17th for that significant severe weather event. So let me just talk to y'all about that. SBC site is giving me a while to load. Let me just go back to severe events this year. So we're gonna go to, I think this, yeah, May 17th. So yesterday, no, this was the last event we had that I haven't covered yet. In this event, I would say overall verified hail-wise, barely verified a moderate though. It was a low-end moderate. Probably verified a 10% tornado risk. We already went through the Alex and stuff. There ended up being a tornado watch where where it had everything moderate probabilities because of an intense cluster of storms. On May 19th, we ended up seeing a surprising severe weather event over Minnesota. There was no risk of severe weather initially with the outlooks, and throughout the day there was no risk there until 1Z. There was a small 2% tornado risk, and there ended up being several brief tornadoes and even twin tornadoes that formed. And actually, at first, this day had a slight, and it got downgraded to a marginal because the severe threat went off the shore. On May 22nd, we had a significant severe weather event in Colorado. Ended up going day 3 marginal, day 2 slight risk, stayed slight, day 1, and then boom, they went 5% tornado in a couple of spots. 1630, sig hail added. And this verified to a 10% risk in Colorado, and probably significant in my opinion, because there were some strong tornadoes across portions of Colorado this day. Here are the watch probs. Here are the watches they issued. So they issued a couple tornadoes possible, scattered hail, like yada yada yada. The next watch they issued was across New Mexico. That had very similar tornado probabilities to it. And the next watch was across Nebraska and Kansas, and that had very similar probabilities. May 23rd, this was an event that you'll see in a second here. It went day 3 slight, day 2 slight with a 5 tour. 5 tour really didn't get expanded much. Day 1, enhanced risk, 5 tour, 30 wind, 15 hail. Next day 1 outlook, a large 5 tour, 30 sig wind, and a 15 sig hail with mentions of potentially upgrading. 1630Z with this outlook, we ended up with a enhanced risk, 10% tornado risk, 30 sig wind, and a 30 sig hail. I believe I ended up going 10% tornado significant this day, if I remember right. And I'm not really sure if verified, but stick with the same probs, and then again, they only went 5 tour. And there was that tornado watch they issued. Boom. I would say overall is definitely verified as an enhanced risk. There were a lot of tornadoes in northeastern Colorado, so that probably is enough to verify 10, but they weren't really that strong, so probably only 10% non-significant. There ended up being tornadoes up in South Dakota too, and there ended up being a bunch of significant wind reports. The next day we had an unexpected outbreak of tornadoes, with some of them being strong. And one of them was rated 110 mile per hour EF1. Likely was a lot stronger than that, as it peaked outside of town. It hit Selden, Kansas. That town got pretty much spared. This ended up going day 3 marginal, day 2 slight, stayed slight, stayed slight. 1630Z, there was a 5% tornado risk added. Kept with 20Z, and kept with 1Z. There ended up being a tornado watch issued across portions of Kansas, mostly northwestern Kansas. We ended up seeing a few tornadoes possible with the watch tag. 2.5-inch hail likely are possible in isolated gusts up to 70. And that's exactly what happened. Texas Panhandle even got the action on this day, and there was another severe watch issued to account for the linear segments overnight. And here's the initial mesoscale discussion that kind of sparked everything off here. Boom. And I ended up going berserk. And then here's yesterday, which yesterday ended up going 15% wind in the northeast and slight, and a moderate risk across the plains. A lot of people say yesterday busted, some say it underperformed, and some say it verified. What I would say is, I'd say it performed along the warm front, which is noted here. I'll bring up my pen here. So I'd say the northeast verified as a 30% wind. Like, we weren't expecting that to happen. And I'll show you the outlook cycles in a second here. But there was a lot of wind reports up here. I'm just gonna say that right now, a lot. But you see this right here? The warm front was right here, and almost all the storms hugged the warm front, except out along the dry line there in Texas and Oklahoma and New Mexico. We ended up getting a few discrete supercells, and they ended up firing, and we ended up seeing a strong to intense tornado overnight across Texas. And then along the warm front, let me just say this, there were at least 20 tornadoes yesterday. Jeff Petrowski actually ended up intercepting 20, probably a bit more. 28 total tornado reports, filtered it's 25. Wind in the northeast yesterday, we had a total 263 filtered, so I would say a 30% wind risk would have verified. Hail, I think a 45 hatch did perfectly fine, and that was what was issued, and we ended up seeing a 15 sig tornado risk. On day 4, boom, but day 3 we ended up seeing a significant risk. The first day 2, there ended up being a 5 tour in the northeast. There were a few models that ended up showing some pretty significant solutions. Then, they pretty much skipped out. So they pretty much went boom and upgraded to a moderate. They pretty much skipped on a 30 hail. They went from 15 to 45 hail. They ended up going 15 hail to northeast and kept the 5 tour. Initially, they went 10 non-sig. 13Z ended up seeing a 15 sig tornado risk, and there's the 4 panel with the 15Z. 1630Z, it ended up being expanded, and there's your verification. Definitely verified. Now, the thing is, you were expecting to see supercells across the dry line with this setup right in here. And we just didn't get that. But, to be frank, here are the watches that were issued. We had a severe watch in the northeast. Another severe watch in the northeast. A tornado, another severe watch out in the plains. A tornado, another severe watch out in the northeast. Then we saw our first tornado watch of the day for portions of Kansas. This was central Kansas for a couple supercells that ended up developing. Then there's the next watch. This ended up being a PDS tornado watch, actually. There are your probabilities right here. We were expecting more of an overnight tornado threat, but the storms just didn't end up getting organized at all, and we're heavily struggling due to an 850 millibar warm nose and or capping inversion. But we did end up seeing, I would be honest with you, we did end up seeing verification of a PDS watch. It was just not like that extreme. Even this was with the area that really just verified it all, like literally right here. That's the area, like southwest Nebraska and northwest Kansas. The next watch that was issued was a severe thunderstorm watch, had very high in probs. We ended up getting a 45 wind this day that busted pretty hard. There's your public weather outlooks. And there ended up being a multimedia briefing too. Look at satellite once again. Yeah. So we are expecting to see a lull in the pattern due to the swarm front, cold front really blasting through the region, like really significantly. Like you can see here. Let me go look on Pivotal Weather to get your current temperatures. And do it for like the whole United States. We're not gonna look at models, but observations. Boom. There's your temperatures, and look at that warm front right here. Really cold above it. And then there's your cold front. There. This is expected to push down through, and as you can see here, this colder air was actually caused by an intense line of thunderstorms that is developing. And you can see it got very cold into the 60s and even upper 50s after that line came through some places. Here's last night. Just for instance, the northeast, of course, got colder. You can see those holes from those supercells that are out in Kansas. And there's just that intense line of thunderstorms that have just set up. Current dew points. Looking at dew points, you can see here, yeah, you got a dry line situated across portions of Texas, along with that surface kind of in here. And you can see that warm front kind of out here. But that's gonna do it for this one. If you liked watching this kind of stuff, you can hit the subscribe button and stay along for the next videos. And in the next, well, probably Tuesday or Wednesday, and I'll see you in the next one.